Hi, I'm Sean Turner, news editor at Hotel News Now, here with half of the Hotel News Now editorial team. And as you can hear from the din behind us, we're here at a crowded Hunter Hotel conference. Heard about 1,200 people here today. Good first day, of course a lot of optimism. What stuck out to me though in the opening panels was when they were talking about Airbnb, and it was kind of we're not really concerned too much about a threat there. Mark, I think, asked a question, raise your hands if you consider it a threat. I think 5 people raised their hands. A very kind of laissez-faire attitude, which I think, in my opinion, is to their detriment. I think you ignore Airbnb at your own peril. Mark showed in one of his slides, there are a lot of markets that are under threat from Airbnb, where the supply is, I think, over 5% of the traditional hotel supply. So there are still some threats out there. Alicia, what were your takeaways from today?
Well, you know, the theme of the conference is Seize the Day. And actually, in his opening remarks, Bob Hunter said 61% of owners here want to develop a hotel this year. So that's great news. But that didn't stop panelists during the opening session to talk about some of the issues that owners are facing, such as, you know, labor costs, OTAs, and implementing that technology. What about you, Patrick?
So 2 things of note from my perspective. First, the economist from SunTrust Bank, he gave an interesting perspective. A lot of people out there criticize the economy right now, say we're growing at a rate of GDP of about 2% and that's not good enough. He said if you look at the private sector, that's actually growing north of 3%, and by year's end it could be in the 4% range. It's the government spending and the GDP deficit that's kind of dragging the overall economy down, but private sector is great. So he says, stop being so negative about it. Things are actually turning along pretty quickly. And the second point is I had a side conversation with Leslie Ng of Interstate. He brought up a really interesting perspective when I was asking him about the deals landscape. He actually thinks activity is going to pick up significantly as people who bought 3 or 4 years ago for 50 cents on the dollar are going to look to unload and get out just in time. Not that the downturn is coming anytime soon, but the timing is right for that second offload of people who bought early on.
That's just dead on, because when you have a 5-year hold period and you're in year 4, you got to start looking at it. And everybody buying back in 09 and 10, we're looking at that 5-year hold period, so that makes total sense. Now, with that said, I'm confused. I don't know whether to be just over the top enthused about this or run for the hills, because there's mixed signals all the way through these sessions. First of all, Alicia, you pointed to that 61% of people say they're going to build again. Yikes. I mean, couple that with what Vale Brown from SDR said about pipeline is not a problem yet. And I think we're going to wake up one day and we're going to go, where in the heck did all this supply come from? We didn't see it, when it really is right in front of us. Other things that kind of confuse me: franchisors are now looking out for the bottom line of owners. This from a franchisor, from Rajiv Trivedi from La Quinta. Now, I applaud that, but I don't think it's a full practice all the way around. So that was a little bit confusing. Another confusing thing to me, I sat in on a discussion this morning with some young hoteliers from the IHG Owners Association. Then I hear the economist telling me that we're getting older and the cliff is near. So I don't know, should I jump or should I just hold off and say, you know, we still have some good years left? We're clearly at the peak, according to Mark Woodworth. We're going to see the cycle end around 2019, is what he says. So that's a little bit confusing, because things are going so well right now, but yet at any time we could, we could see a little bit of a downturn. And then his introduction of that XPAR, expenses per available room. from what I always heard, from what all hoteliers are telling us these days is that, oh, expenses are rising so fast, so fast, so fast. But yet Mark is telling us that revenues are rising faster than expenses. And I think that's contradictory to what a lot of the owners in the industry are telling us, saying they can't keep up with expenses. And finally, Bob Hunter says we're in the 6th inning of the first game of a doubleheader, and there's going to be a little bit of time in between. I say, is there going to be a rain delay? What else is going to happen here? So I think there's a little bit of, for the first time in about 3 years, I'm feeling a little bit of maybe not concern in the industry, but a little bit of uncertainty about where we're heading, and that we might want to start thinking about what's coming over that cliff sooner than later.
The chorus, the general consensus isn't as consistent as it's been. For a while, everybody was mad and sad, then people were kind of hopeful, then everybody was super happy, but you're right, you're getting to the stage now where you're starting to hear a lot of different things from a lot of different camps, cause to question a lot of it.
Well, it'll be interesting to see what the next couple of days bring for us. We'll be here, of course, bringing you the news, tweeting. Stay tuned to Hotel News Now. We'll get you all of the things happening from the Hunter Hotel Conference as they happen.